Sure, wherever you want to be. It doesn't matter. Don't get too. All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us today. My name is Denise Keele, and I'm the Executive Director of the Michigan Climate Action Network. I'm going to serve as moderator for today's press conference. We are live streaming, I hope you're out there, Facebook Nation. We will take some questions at the end from the media, from those online, and here in person. I'm so grateful for so much of the Kalamazoo community that came out today, Kalamazoo Electric Vehicle Association, all of our fine friends from Township and from the city. Commissioner Jean Hess from the city is also here today. Really appreciate the time and attention that you've taken. We're here today to talk about the transformative benefits of electric vehicles and how Michigan can implement transportation and mobility solutions that are just, equitable, and affordable. We are experiencing the climate change impacts right now. And I know you may like today's impacts because it's nearly 50 degrees outside, but that doesn't mean that they aren't disturbing impacts. We have a short window of time to address these, as you all know. The transportation sector is the largest emitter of greenhouse gases. The biggest sector, folks, even more than our electric buildings. Almost 30% of greenhouse gas carbon pollution comes from our mobility choices. By embracing those cleaner transportation options, we can not only address climate change, but we can reduce harmful pollutants, and we can improve public health in our community. It's why we applauded the Environmental Protection Agency that just proposed rules to significantly reduce the amount of emissions from those irregular passenger cars and trucks and vans. Those standards help everyone, even those who are in the market for electric vehicles. Because even when we include production and the batteries and all the things that you're hearing about, our electric vehicles' lifetime carbon emissions are 30% less than any gas-powered vehicle. That's what we want to be transitioning to. It's obvious electric vehicles are going to be an exciting and huge part of our journey towards zero emissions, and that consumer adoption of EVs, especially in the short term, is imperative. Even before those proposed rules I talked about happen, EVs are reducing in their price by almost $15,000 since last year. And that's not including the federal tax credits that are available, $7,500 thanks to the Inflation Reduction Act, and to Governor Gretchen Whitmer for $2,000 additional in EV rebates. Even more important than addressing carbon pollution is making sure that we have an EV transition that is equitable and prioritizes environmental justice communities in Michigan. We know those incentives may still not be enough to address the serious inequities of the interlocking crisis of climate and justice. And that's why our speakers today here are just such a terrific example of what justice-centered, community-focused models of equitable mobility can really look like, and how those federal and state investments can drive, pun intended, this new future. We're going to hear about the EV driving experience, about how public institutions like Western Michigan University are making this transition. We'll hear from our colleagues at West Michigan Environmental Action Council and Community Collaboration on Climate Change up in Grand Rapids, who are piloting very similar programs. And we're going to, of course, hear about our own state representative. Representative Julie Rogers is here today to talk about some of those state and federal investments. First, though, I'm going to turn it over to my friend and colleague and our host for today, Matt Hollander, principal of Hollander Development, to tell us all about this beautiful building that we are in today and his exciting new EV rideshare program, connecting affordable housing and clean mobility right here in Kalamazoo. Matt, thanks so much.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Matt Hollander. Welcome to the Creamery. You are in sort of our office here today. This is where we do work like developing this building that you're in. So the Creamery is a project that we opened back in 2021. It was a joint project between the Michigan State Housing Development Authority and the Michigan Economic Development Corporation to create affordable and workforce housing in a mixed-use building here in the Edison neighborhood. And so in this building, we have, I'm going to talk about housing a little bit before I get to the cars, so bear with me. I will form a connection here. We have 39 affordable housing units here in this building on the first, second, and third floors. Some of those units rent for as little as $450 a month, utilities included, for income-qualified renters. We have 9 what we call workforce housing units here in the building that are for people at or below 120% of area median income. And we have The Dreamery on the other side of the building, which is operated and was co-developed by the YWCA of Kalamazoo, which is Michigan's first comprehensive early childhood learning center with first, second, and third shift emergency drop-off childcare. Next to you, as you came into the office here, is Move with Joy. That's our small business incubator tenant. They are a local business that serves the neighborhood here with dance, fitness, and art classes, and this was their first brick and mortar studio that they were able to develop in concert with the development of this project here. The residential portion of the building is LEED Platinum certified, which at the time was the highest level of green certification available through that program. This is one of only 2 LEED Platinum commercial buildings in Southwest Michigan. The other is Heritage Hall at Western Michigan University. So, according to the Michigan Association of United Ways, transportation, childcare, and housing costs account for about 60% of a typical household's budget. That's from their ALICE report, if you want to look it up, and it's from their household survival budget. According to the Harvard Joint Center for Housing Studies, over 50% of renters now in the United States, the whole country, are paying more than 30% of their income towards their housing expenses. So that's, by traditional metrics, that means that they are paying too much for their housing expenses. And here in Michigan, we have over 217,000 households who are what we classify as extremely low-income households, paying over 70% of their income towards, paying over 50% of their income towards housing expenses. So half of what they make goes towards their housing expenses. And so anybody who's paying attention right now understands that we have an affordable housing crisis. But what people don't think about are those 2 other big expenses, childcare and transportation. So what we wanted to do here is treat that as a system of expenses and try to address all 3 of those things at the same time. So we have affordable childcare, we have our new affordable mobility platform, and we have our affordable and workforce housing. So the AMP car share, that's what it's called here, is that stands for Affordable Mobility Platform. It's a partnership that we joined with a nonprofit called Fourth Mobility, based in Portland, Oregon. They got a substantial Department of Energy grant to roll out these sorts of affordable car share systems at affordable and workforce housing sites across the entire country. The Creamery and Spring Manor Apartments in Portage, which is another one of our developments, were the first 2 to roll out in the entire country. So we did our soft rollout in late December. We had an event here on December 18th, and we're going fully live in the community in March. So we've been beta testing, we've been driving the cars, figuring out what's wrong with the mobile app, and so we hope to broaden that exposure to the rest of the community after next month. Anybody can reserve a car, so it's open to the entire community. It's not just residents here at the Creamery. It's $5 a day, or $5 an hour, $50 a day, and that includes charging, insurance, repairs, maintenance. That's all in. It's all mobile app-based, and I can show people how it works after the press conference here. Go out and take a look at the car, and I'll show you how to reserve it for yourself. Here we have a Chevy Bolt. We have a Chevy Bolt EUV at the other site, and we feel that combined with access to public transportation, we have a metro stop right here out the window that you can see. We have a bicycle storage room here indoors for people to use the multimodal transportation systems like the KRVT Trail. We feel that that's actually contributing to people's ability to afford a high quality of life. And so, again, I'm going to be available for tours and a demonstration of the vehicle afterwards. And thanks for being here. Up next, we have Representative Julie Rogers. Thank you.
Hi, again, my name is State Representative Julie Rogers. You're in the heart of my district, District 41. I serve City of Kalamazoo, Kalamazoo Township, a slice of Portage, and a slice of Comstock. And I am so thrilled to be with these amazing partners today who are really cutting edge and innovative in our thinking. So for years, Michigan has been a part of what's known as the Rust Belt, and I like to say we're moving into the Green Belt. It's just very exciting to finally be able to do some major investment after years of disinvestment in our infrastructure. So I wanted to touch on my role and some of the things we're working on at the state legislature, both with the governor in partnership with our legislature, but I'm really thrilled. Many of you probably tuned in to hear the governor's State of the State address, which is her preview and what kicks off the budget season for crafting the 2025 budget. So a couple of the highlights from her executive recommendation for electric vehicle included $25 million for electric vehicle charging stations to expand to install stations at multifamily complexes, just like what we're talking about here today, and a $20 million investment in transitioning Michigan fleets to battery, EV, and hydrogen fuel vehicles through grants to municipalities, transit authorities, and infrastructure hubs. Again, a lot of our local municipalities have said that they have wanted to do this kind of transition, but the financial cost was too high. And so hopefully we can continue the public-private investments and working together as a state with drawing down federal IRA dollars, as well as a couple of the other things I wanted to mention. $5 million for the Community and Worker Economic Transition Office to assist in the transition to EVs and renewable energies. And already in the 2024 supplemental that we passed, there's $10 million for community and worker economic transition funds to support the transition from internal combustion engines to electric vehicles. I also wanted to highlight that this Office of Future Mobility and Electrification, or OFME, was established several years ago in the middle of 2020 to really coordinate a statewide approach. And I think after being such a leader in the automotive industry, it's really important that the state leads with a coordinated effort instead of being disjointed. I think we've had a lot of efforts over the course of the last decade, but having a state office is so important to coordinate and also be able to draw down those federal funds. It will bring several state agencies that have played in this space of vehicles, so MDOT, LEO, the Labor and Economic Opportunity Department, EGLE, and MEDC. So all of those are hubs that are going to be touching this infrastructure and transition, and I think having that coordination will really help. And the Michigan Future Mobility Plan has 3 pillars, so it's creating 20,000 new jobs in automotive and the mobility sector by 2026. It would add 7,000 workers with mobility credentials by 2030 and maintain an automotive sector with at least 170,000 jobs through 2030. So not only is this the right green thing to do, it's an economic development tool for our state. And because of the policies that the legislature enacted at the end of 2023, we are now primed to be leaders in the Midwest and frankly the whole country in transitioning. So I will be around for remarks afterwards. I know we have quite the lineup and I'll be brief, but thank you so much for hosting me and thank you to all of you for collaborating.
Thank you so much, State Representative Julie Rogers. My name is Marshall Kilgore. I am the Director of Engagement for the West Michigan Environmental Action Council. Super excited to be here with you all today to talk about this amazing initiative that the Creamery has and how it will positively affect frontline communities and fight for environmental justice. So that means positive and equitable situations for folks of color, our elderly, our youth, and our folks who are differently abled within the environment. The West Michigan Environmental Action Council has fought for environmental advocacy and education for over 50 years. As more EV technology improves and becomes more affordable, they are becoming more accessible to consumers, contributing to a greener future. By transitioning to electrical vehicles, we can alleviate the burden of carbon emissions to our urban core communities who are often already overburdened by carbon emissions and noise, and create a healthier environment for all. One of the primary benefits of electrical vehicles is their positive impact on the environment, of course. EVs will help produce zero tailpipe emissions, reducing air pollution and combating climate change as a whole. Individuals can significantly lower their carbon footprint and contribute to a cleaner, healthier planet. Additionally, EVs are quieter than traditional vehicles, reducing noise pollution and creating a more peaceful urban environment. Furthermore, as technology advances and economies of scale are achieved, electric vehicles are becoming more affordable and accessible to consumers. We know at the West Michigan Environmental Action Council that it's gonna take a village. It's gonna take both local, state, and federal help to make electric vehicle rebate programs and initiatives like here at the Creamery today possible. We look forward to working with our community partners like Robert Simmons and the Community Collaboration on Climate Change, which you'll hear from next. And we are hopeful to see more of these things. These types of initiatives and collaborations make me think of when the first car came out, right? Or some of those first cars, the Model T. The average consumer did not believe that they could get that car. And as time went on, and as human innovation kept trotting on, we were able to have that. The West Michigan Environmental Action Council wants to make sure that all Michiganders are able to have an electric vehicle if they choose. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll pass it off to Robert Simmons from C4.
Thank you guys so much for coming out today. I really feel a sense of nobility in the work that we're doing. A lot of the times, throughout the last 3 years, we felt this edge on us if things are gonna work out, all of the diligent efforts that we put in to bring about this electric mobility, if those things will pay off. And slowly but surely we gained the federal recognition that we needed to get the support that we needed, where we're able to do things like this. I really wanna thank Mr. Hollander, Denise, Weggy, as well as Wendy Act for inviting us and giving us the opportunity to showcase the things that we're doing in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We're doing a similar ride-share program and giving access to the low-income community. I think that being here today is a stepping stone to doing more. So as a community, look at this as an opportunity to have access, opportunity to have a workforce, and an opportunity to really give impacts in the community. These metropolitan areas have a tremendous amount of pollution. We don't have tree canopy to be able to sequester some of that carbon that we're breathing in. To have less carbon going into our atmosphere is a great thing for all communities. And yeah, I won't hold you guys up much longer than that. I just wanted to make sure that you guys know C4 Community Collaboration is starting out a ride-share program in Grand Rapids similar to this, so you can start to see that electric infrastructure starting to build up northern, western part of the state. So thank you guys so much.
Okay, thanks, Robert. I'm Deirdre Nieves. I am a professor with Western Michigan University. Thank you all for joining us today. I extend my appreciation to Representative Rogers and Mr. Matt Hollander for having us today. Their invaluable contributions to the efforts right here in Kalamazoo, again, are invaluable. It's truly an honor to be a part of this event with all of the other advocates here celebrating transformational advancements in renewable technology and electric vehicles, alongside our other honored speakers who share our commitment to a sustainable future. Special thanks to MyCan, WMEAC, and CAC for co-hosting this event and showcasing a steadfast dedication to our common objectives. Today I speak as an educator, and I note that institutions of higher education have a pivotal role to play as it relates to this transition. As an educator, I understand the importance of instilling values of environmental stewardship and sustainability in our students by integrating initiatives like electric vehicle infrastructure into our communities. We not only demonstrate our commitment to these values, but also provide tangible examples of how technology and innovation in our very own community serves as a powerful reminder of the roles in shaping a sustainable future. It provides our students with opportunities to engage with real-world solutions to pressing environmental challenges and inspires them to become active participants of achieving this change. Western Michigan University, just shy of 2 miles down the road from this current gathering here, has made significant investments in renewable energy, including solar arrays, implementing a state-of-the-art charge point charging network strategically positioned across our campus, and has proactively accelerated its very own timeline for carbon neutrality from 2065 to 2055. And also, I believe Matt mentioned earlier, we're LEED certified and have been for quite some time with our Heritage Hall. As an educator, witnessing these types of deliberate efforts bring a sense of satisfaction. Our community programs, such as the electric vehicle rideshare programs here in Kalamazoo and Grand Rapids, exemplify our collective efforts in promoting sustainable transportation, making it accessible to all. Today, we emphasize the importance of initiatives like the electric vehicle rideshare program and the Inflation Reduction Act, critical for reducing the roles of carbon pollution, improving air quality, and enhancing public health. Recognizing the vital role of government financing at all levels, we extend our gratitude to the Biden administration and the EPA for their dedicated commitment, particularly through the Inflation Reduction Act, obviously our governor as well, in addressing environmental justice concerns. Today, we must champion robust, clean transportation investments, support electric school bus funding, advance investments in advanced clean manufacturing, and continue to expand on community-driven initiatives. Our collective efforts today will shape a sustainable future and that we envision for future generations. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I've got to be honest with you, I'm a little surprised I'm here after hearing everybody else. I'm a guy who drives an EV. And my name is Doug McIntosh. As mentioned, I drive an EV. I not only drive an EV, I own several charging stations along the lake shore, and I'm a small business owner. I want to talk about what it's like to drive that EV, but I want to throw out a couple facts here. It kind of tightens a little bit up of what everybody's been talking about. So according to Kelley Blue Book, in 2023, there were 1.2 million EVs, new EVs, sold in the US. That's 7.6% of all new cars in the marketplace. The average price of an ICE vehicle, new vehicle, is $50,000 here in the United States. The new price of an electric vehicle is $52,000. To Denise's point, that gap has closed tremendously in the last 2 years, and it's great to see that happening. So the journey. My journey started with curiosity. I drive my friends crazy because I ask questions all the time. And when I started hearing about electric vehicles, that's when the brain started going and the questions started, and it was time for a new car. And I had a choice of, in the EV marketplace after I did my research, 3 opportunities: a hybrid plug-in, or full out all EV. Well, I'm not a kind of half-in kind of guy, which can be good and also not so good. But in this case, it's been great. I went all in. I decided to plug in versus pump gas moving forward. So that's how I got here. So what's it like to drive an EV? Well, you know what? There are times where I wish there weren't cameras on me. Thank God, because it would be real trouble. But for the most part, it's been a joy. My favorite thing about EVs is they're fun. I love a driving experience. And with an EV, because of the weight of the vehicle and where the batteries are centered, these guys are tight to the ground. And anybody who knows cars, there's nothing more fun than being able to take a corner and that car not move at all. The days where you go like this when you're doing a corner, that's my favorite thing. I'm not going to kid you. My second favorite thing, most of the time I'm charging at home. So I leave in the morning and I have a full tank about 80% of the time. And when I do have to use a charger, my average, cost is about $8, and that's to get me from 20% to 80%. Now I did the math as it was with my old ICE vehicle. That same experience would have cost me $65 in gas. So right there's a huge saving. Range, in the city, most of the time in the city, if you drive an ICE vehicle, your gas mileage gets worse versus highway. Well, it's opposite for an EV because we have brakes that allow for a little bit more charging of the battery than other cars. And again, because I'm a geek, I was going to say kind of, but kind is not really true. So things like that are important to me. The other thing is maintenance. My maintenance, I don't have it. I don't change my oil, I don't have maintenance. My last vehicle, before I got into the EV world, I paid $750 every 3 months for maintenance of my vehicle. So right there, between the maintenance and the cost of the gas, those numbers, that pays my car payment alone. Plain and simple. I like that. But that just might be me, you know? Smartphones, driving an EV, you're gonna probably have to upgrade to a smartphone if you don't have one. I use mine. Mine is my key. So always have your phone charged, because you don't want to be in a place where you run out of your phone because you're not going to be able to start your car. The other thing is, you know, many of these EV charging stations require apps, so you need your car. And then lastly, I just like the safety and security with tap to pay. And many of the stations are going that route, and I appreciate that. The other thing, road trips. Boy, 2 years ago, the idea of going on a road trip with my EV, Carl has heard me say this a couple of times, scared the heck out of me. 2 years later, we're in a whole different world, you know? I get into my car, I plug in where I'm going. I go to Ann Arbor a lot for work. I'm doing a lot of work over there. And it tells me where I'm gonna stop, how long I'm gonna stop for, and when I do hit that point, my car does say, get back on the road. My average charge time is 15 minutes to get from 20% to 80%. So it's getting, that gap again is getting smaller and smaller with the amount of charge time, which is great. So this part is near and dear to me because this is creating jobs and new opportunities. And why do I say that is because it changed my life. 5 years ago, I was a healthcare, actually in January of a year ago, I was in healthcare. I had been my entire career for the most part. I don't do that anymore. I quit my job. I now design and install charging stations throughout Illinois, Indiana, and Michigan because I have that kind of passion for it. I just feel like I'm part of the new railroad. And to see all of these new changes is pretty awesome. But I want to summarize this for a second because Denise said something really important, and that was really this gorgeous day. 58 degrees in February, sunshine, that can, solar panels, back in the background, right? Your solar panels are going to town. That's awesome for us in the room, but it's not awesome at all. And I feel like driving an EV, it allows me to contribute just a little bit to stop this. While selfishly, I like it, kind of breaks my heart. So I'm going to be the guy who's always going to say, hey, go all in and drive an EV. Thank you for listening to me. It's just, again, thank you for inviting me, Denise.
I think you can all see why we invited Doug, right? What transition happens without a little joy, without a little passion, without it being fun, right? Yes, we are gonna be cutting carbon pollution. Again, our highest emitting sector is transportation. We gotta solve that, folks. EVs are getting cheaper and safer and easier to use and more fun to drive every minute, right? And for the folks that can't afford that, again, our focus here today is really on the environmental justice impacts. We have to then be thinking intersectionally, as all of these speakers did today. Where are we living? How do we get to work? What about childcare? How does housing and mobility go together? That's what these innovative projects at the Creamery and that are going on in Grand Rapids are gonna do. And again, it is all thanks, folks, to some of the major investments from the Inflation Reduction Act and from our recent state pieces that is really making this happen. I hope these speakers have left little doubt about the bright future of mobility and transportation and equitable solutions here in Kalamazoo and Grand Rapids. I hope the rest of the state is paying a little attention to what's going on over here on the west side every now and again. It all starts with these local leaders, right? We can have those federal investments, but we need local leaders to be in making the vision happen and bringing those dollars home. And that's just so much thanks to our businesses, our universities, to government, Representative Julie Rogers for being here, and all of our community groups are working together to make these solutions happen. It's really important to focus on on that collaboration. So I thank all of our speakers so much for being here today, for all of you for coming out today. If there are any questions from the media, from the group, I'll have to go check my own Facebook Live here in a minute. We're open for questions, and all my speakers, this is when they run away, but if one of them is better to answer the question, they'll come back up here. So thank you all so much for being here today. Any questions, you guys? I know we were looking for an EV, one of the rideshare drivers, someone who's actually used it, but I don't think that they made it today. Yeah.
I know you're going to do a demonstration, but how do I sign up to actually rent one?
How do they sign up to actually rent one? So we're gonna walk out afterwards, and I think Doug made a great comment. I think you're gonna need a phone. And probably my phone battery dies before my car battery does these days, right? And it's all app-based.
So there's an app
Yep.
that I need to.
That's
plug
right,
down,
and then you
go from there.
exactly.
And you take all my money. Got it.
Yep, we'll go walk everybody through it here in just a minute.
Okay.
Everyone wants to know how it works. Yeah, other questions?
Is there any kind of pre-drive education that happens for prospective drivers? Because, so I am an EV driver and I do education and outreach, and it's sometimes I run into people at charging stations that have just rented a vehicle, Uber drivers, they don't even know where the charge port is.
Yeah.
So is there anything that happens in that arena?
Are our folks in Grand Rapids, are you thinking through that
Yes.
question? 'Cause I don't see, or
Yeah,
Matt, do you
there
wanna
are.
take
Yeah,
that
I'm
one?
here.
Come on up.
Yeah, so the app for both of our systems and for the Fourth Mobility AMP program nationwide is called Mio Car Networks. So if you get on whatever your app store is and search for Mio, M-I-O, Car Networks, you'll be able to find it. It has a little green logo. And the way it works is you download the app, you register for an account, and you upload a couple photos of your driver's license, and then somebody from the car share support network from, I believe, Boston, will call you and walk you through an orientation of how the checkout process works, what you need to know about the car, charging. Here at the Creamery and at Spring Manor, all you have to do is pull back into the spot. There's a card in the car that you use on our OpConnect charger. You hold the card up, it beeps at you, you plug it in, you're done. That's it. Insurance is included. There's no additional cost for maintenance or anything like that, and that's how it works.
So is this a countrywide network you're joining if you sign up with this?
Yeah. So there are host sites. The way that the way that our program works is Fourth Mobility in Portland, Oregon, is the PI on the Department of Energy grant, and they identified host sites all over the country. So here, I believe we have in Michigan, I think it's Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids, Ann Arbor, and Detroit, if I remember correctly. You can get on Fourth Mobility's website and look at their affordable mobility platform page, and it'll give you more information on the nationwide program. But I think it's 7 or 8 states that they rolled it out in, and it's all intended for affordable housing communities in existing low-income neighborhoods, and it's a really low barrier to entry. Like I said, it's $5 an hour to rent the vehicle, and I mean, it's not expensive to buy a Chevy Bolt these days. I think they retail for about $27,000, and you get a whole bunch of tax credits, but your car payment would still be $600 or $700 when you factor in insurance. Here, you can get away for $10, $15 if you need to make a long trip around town, and you don't have to use it if you don't need it.
What was the name of the app?
Mio Network. Mio Car, MIOCAR Networks.
Can you just talk more on how, this can be beneficial for people who do not have a car, don't have access to transportation, and it may not be easy to kind of get on the bus to go exactly to where they need to go, because as we know, rent in Kalamazoo has skyrocketed, and this is just one less thing that they have to worry about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're affordable housing developers. That's what we do here at Hollander Development and Edison Community Partners. Those are the two businesses based in this office. And we do a lot of work with the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, or MSHDA. And every project that we do prioritizes connectivity to transportation and the types of things that you're gonna need every week as you're just living. So we cite projects that are close to grocery stores, and pharmacies, and doctor's offices, and a whole host of other things. With the car share, what that does for us is, like I pointed out, we have a metro stop right out the window here, and you can pick up a bus and you can get most places that you need to go. The timing of the bus system sometimes is problematic for people, and so if you want to do it on your own time and pay a couple extra dollars over what it would cost to take the bus, then you can rent the car. We also have bicycle storage here on site, and we intentionally put this project close to a trail system that's completely off the road, the Kalamazoo River Valley Trail, which connects to the Calhaven Trail and other trail systems. And you could ride a bike out the front door here and be almost entirely off the street until you get to South Haven or Battle Creek or down into South Portage. So those are all things that we thought about: walkability, bikeability, access to car share, access to public transit, and we have parking for people that have their own cars who either want to keep driving their own car or need to keep driving their own car. And on all of our new projects that we're rolling out, with the assistance of the Inflation Reduction Act and the governor's initiatives and other supports, we're putting in more electric vehicle charging infrastructure on new projects than we did here. Here we designed the building to easily put in 2 charging ports, and that's what we did. We already had the conduit under the ground and everything. When we put them in, it was super easy. That's what we're doing everywhere we develop these projects now. And one thing I didn't mention when I was talking was this is one of the state's first all-electric residential communities. So we have natural gas hooked up to this space and the Creamery, but all of the residential units here are electric, and we have a big solar array on the roof, which is actually connected to the car share charger. So the car share is partially solar powered as well. Also something we're doing everywhere else.
How do you keep track of maintenance? If somebody might return it with a flat tire or a dent or something like that, how does that work?
Part of the program, part of our agreement with the provider of the car is that we have access to 24-hour customer support and emergency maintenance services. So it's all built into that Department of Energy funded grant that Fourth Mobility got.
Second question. I, as an EV driver and as an enthusiast, I've come across a lot of equipment that doesn't work, chargers with broken cables and things like that. So as this program expands, I mean, you've got 2 ports here, 2 cars, and you've got more than 2 people in this building. And I know it's not supposed to be like a rental solution, but anybody could walk up and use those. So what's the metric for adding, another 10 or 30 vehicles in this community?
That's sort of above my pay grade. We're focused on our own projects, but I will say that one of the reasons we did a soft start here, because again, this was the first in the country under the program that we're in. We wanted to have time to kick the tires, so to speak, and make sure that the chargers were working properly and the car was going to unlock through the app and stuff like that. And we've been working bugs out over that time period. So time will tell. I mean, I know that we're going to have technical issues rolling it out, but I've thrown a belt on my car and had all kinds of issues with, I know people who have never changed the oil and their motor blew up, and it's all part of driving.
And is it ready for use? Like, can people start booking the car now, or is
Yes.
that, okay?
It's been open to the public since December 18th, but we're not aggressively promoting it until next month because we wanted to make sure that we had everything working properly.
Besides today.
Besides that, so hopefully it unlocks for me when we go out there.
Deirdre, can you just check is there anybody on Facebook Live that would like to put a comment in? Are they just giving us some love online, I feel like it?
Yeah.
Everybody on Facebook, yeah?
In fact, I didn't see any.
Any other questions for any of the speakers today? Or, yeah, go ahead, one more.